I've been secretly in love with my sister's fiancé for 4 years. But on the night of their engagement party, my sister disappeared. I worked up the courage to walk up and tug on Johnny's sleeve. My last name is Bernard too. If it's okay, could I be your fiancé instead? Johnny looked down at me, a playful smile on his lips. Sweetheart, being my fiancé involves a lot of kissing and holding. Think you're up for it? I bit my lip and nodded. I am. After we got married, I'd watched the man who now willingly did my laundry. I feel like you've been planning this for a long time. Johnny looked up. Babe, you're so smart. Well? Have you found her? The hall was an absolute madhouse. Tonight was supposed to be the engagement party of the princess and the prince. The princess was my sister, Sophie Bernard, and the prince was the boy I'd been in love with for 4 years. Sophie and I both have the last name Bernard. The difference is, she was the golden child, born with a silver spoon, shining like a brilliant pearl. I, on the other hand, was the love child, kept out of sight. But today, the princess had vanished. Her phone went straight to voicemail, she wasn't answering texts, it was like she'd evaporated into thin air. Did your sister pick up for you? I handed my phone to my dad. The call log was a sea of red. Looking at his anxious face, I shook my head. It's not going through. Dad turned and walked away, frustrated. Just then, I glanced up. I saw a familiar figure heading straight for the terrace. At the same time, my phone started buzzing. Seeing it was a call from Sophie, I quickly answered. Before I could even speak, her defiant, stubborn voice came through the line. Tell Dad he's not going to find me. I'm not getting engaged to Johnny. I don't like him. Tell him to cancel the party right now, or he'll never see me again. I murmured a soft okay, and she immediately hung up. I relayed the message to my dad. He was so angry he was speechless. I looked at his furious expression. Do the Bernard and Xing families absolutely have to be joined by marriage? My dad just glanced at me without a word. I never got his answer. I turned and followed the direction that figure had gone. The summer night breeze seemed to awaken a restlessness that had been dormant deep inside me. The tall man was toying with a silver Zippo, leaning casually against the glass railing of the terrace. He watched the chaos in the hall with a cool detachment. In that moment, a selfish, bold idea screamed within me. I hesitated for a moment. Finally, I gathered my courage, walked up, and tugged on the hem of his jacket. My last name is Bernard, too. My sister doesn't like you, so if it's okay, could I be your fiancé instead? Johnny stood before me, looking relaxed. He glanced down indifferently at the top of my head. He chuckled softly. Lift your head. Hearing him, I bit my lip. I slowly looked up at him. Can I? The anxiety in my heart felt like it was about to swallow me whole. Johnny looked down at me, a smirk playing on his lips. He eyed me playfully. Kiddo, being my fiancé comes with kissing and holding. You up for that? My mouth fell open, and a blush instantly spread across my face. Johnny raised an eyebrow. He lazily leaned down, looking directly into my eyes. If you're not, then don't mess with me. I bit my lip, gripping his jacket even tighter. I can. I can do the kissing. And the holding. And can you? Johnny leaned in and whispered the last 2 words into my ear. I was stunned by what he said. And no, not until we're married. His dark eyes stared right into mine for a moment. Then, a smile touched his eyes. He grabbed my arm and pulled me closer. That works too. I guess I can do you the favor of letting you be my fiancé. When he said that, my heart felt like it was going to leap out of my chest. My mind went completely blank. He slowly raised his hand to the back of my neck. His long, fair fingers caressed the skin behind my ear for a moment. Fiancé, everyone's watching. Aren't you going to stake your claim? I instinctively tried to turn and look. But he held my neck, pulling me forward. He lowered his head to look right at me, his lips parting slightly. "Open your mouth." Before I could even react, his warm, crisp breath filled my mouth. I froze, my ears burning. For a moment, I completely forgot to breathe. When the kiss ended, Johnny slowly straightened up, a smirk on his face. His calloused thumb gently brushed against my soft lips. "Fiancé, remember to close your eyes next time you kiss someone. I get shy, you know." I licked my lips and said with a flushed face, "But you didn't close your eyes either." His tone was lazy. I forgot this time. Won't happen again." Johnny took my hand and led me toward the crowd behind us. Bold and unrestrained. The engagement party went on as planned. In my dad's eyes, as long as the business partnership between the two families continued, it didn't really matter which daughter married into the Shing family. Since Sophie looked down on Johnny, he had no choice but to turn a blind eye to this arrangement. After the party, Johnny drove me home. As I was getting out of the car, he suddenly grabbed my arm. I looked at him, confused. "What's wrong?" He held out his phone. "You're not going to give me your number? Are we supposed to communicate telepathically from now on?" It hit me then. I quickly took his phone and typed in my number. I handed it back to him. He glanced at me from under his lashes. "Same number for WhatsApp?" I nodded. "All right. Remember to accept my request when you get inside." As he said that, he leaned over to open the car door for me. My lips brushed against his earlobe. I took a sharp breath and pulled back. He looked at me, a smile in his eyes. "Stealing a kiss, huh?" "No." He let out a soft laugh. "Next time, just go for it. I'm generous, I won't say no." I stared at him, my face red and my ears feeling like they were on fire. I bit my lip, got out of the car, and, holding my dress, ran without looking back. Once I was home, I leaned against the back of the door, my heart pounding like it was going to burst. I swallowed hard and cupped my burning cheeks. "Fiona, you're so hopeless," I muttered to myself. Johnny watched the girl's fleeing figure and shook his head with a helpless smile. The faint scent of fruit and flowers lingered in the car. He took a deep breath. He leaned back against the seat, his expression unreadable. He closed his eyes, and his mind was immediately filled with the feeling of the girl's soft touch on the terrace and the timid way she looked at him. A lump formed in his throat, and a smile involuntarily tugged at his lips. A series of pings interrupted his thoughts. Johnny irritably picked up his phone and glanced at the message. "Victor, where you at?" "Victor, come out for drinks." "Johnny, downstairs from my fiancé's place." "Johnny, can't." "Johnny, I'm a family man now. Can't be messing around." "Victor," smiling emoji. A moment later, the roar of a sports car's engine echoed as it sped away from the residential area. After getting inside, I immediately grabbed my phone. Sure enough, I saw a friend request from Johnny. His profile picture was a simple, blurry photo of someone's back. With a trembling finger, I hit accept, then put my phone down and went to the bathroom to shower. When I was done, I picked up my phone. A message from Johnny had popped up. "Johnny, home." I sent a cute cat sticker to let him know I saw it. "Johnny, good night." Me, good night. That's what I said, anyway. But lying in bed, I was too excited to sleep. It was as if everything that happened today was a dream. It felt magical and unreal. In the middle of the night, I finally couldn't stay awake any longer. As I slowly closed my eyes, I prayed. I hoped that when I woke up tomorrow, this dream wouldn't be over. When I woke up in the morning, I anxiously grabbed my phone and opened my messaging app. Seeing that my chat with Johnny was still there, I could feel my mood for the entire day soar. The day after the engagement party was the first day of my sophomore year of college. After getting ready in the morning, I went downstairs. I saw Sophie sitting at the dining table, eating breakfast. I was a little surprised to see her home so early. I slowly walked over and sat down next to her. Next time, please don't just disappear without a word, okay? Sophie turned to look at me with a smile, then pulled a large gold bracelet from her pocket and put it on my wrist. Thanks for taking care of that huge problem for me yesterday, my dear sister. I pursed my lips, stopping her. Do you remember that love letter I secretly wrote in high school? Sophie nodded. The person I had a crush on was Johnny. Sophie's hand froze. She looked up at me, completely shocked. Fiona, are you out of your mind? You like him? I forced a smile, feigning anger. Sophie. Fine, fine. If you like him, you like him. At least the guy's not bad looking. But, Fiona, don't take love too seriously. You'll end up getting hurt, just like your mom and my mom. I pursed my lips and nodded, lying. I know. For a long time, it was just me and Sophie in the Bernard family villa. Sophie's mother couldn't stand our father's cheating, so she divorced him and moved abroad when Sophie was 14. And I was the love child Mr. Bernard brought home after the divorce. When I first came to the Bernard house, Sophie hated me. She thought my mother had ruined her parents' relationship. She even said to me coldly, "You think just because my mom left, your mom can become the lady of the Bernard house? In your dreams." At the time, I was so small. Hearing her mention my recently deceased mother, I couldn't hold back my grief and started crying, my lips trembling. She was so startled she rushed over to wipe my tears. I sobbed as I explained to her, "My mom is gone. She won't be your stepmom." Later, she found out that my mother was just another poor woman who had been deceived by Mr. Bernard. When she was young, he tricked her into getting pregnant, and only then did she find out he was already married. She immediately cut all ties with him. Even though being a single mom was hard, she never appeared before Mr. Bernard again, nor did she ever mention him to me. If she hadn't gotten sick and passed away, I think I would have never known I had a father still living in this world. After breakfast, Sophie was ready to drive me to school in her loud, pink sports car. "You're staying in the dorms again?" I nodded. "It's too far from home. I'll tell Dad to buy you a place near campus. We can live together. I'll be so bored after you leave." She leaned in, her face close to mine. I quickly pushed her away. "Aren't all your boyfriends enough to keep you company?" She hesitated for a moment. "In that case, you should probably stay in the dorms." I rolled my eyes and let out a soft huff. There was a lot to do on the first day of school. After getting everything sorted out, I took a short break and finally picked up my phone. I looked closely and saw that Johnny had sent me a bunch of messages. 11:30 a.m. Johnny, have you eaten? Johnny, a friend just opened a new barbecue place. Want to go check it out? 12 p.m. Johnny, busy? 12:30 p.m. Johnny, we can go tonight instead. 1 p.m. Johnny, did you get kidnapped? The last message was from 4 p.m. It was a voice message. Johnny, Fiona, are you messing with me? Did you ignore your ex-boyfriends like this too? Just from the voice message, I could picture the angry look on his face. I quickly replied. Sorry, today was the first day of school and it was a bit hectic. I just saw my phone. The next second, a message from Johnny came in. Johnny, got it. Don't forget to check your phone more often next time. Me, cat sticker okay. Johnny, want me to pick you up for dinner? Me, sure. But as soon as I put my phone down, the girls in my dorm started planning to go out to eat. Fiona, let's all go out for hot pot. I shook my head and declined. Can we go with you next time? I already have plans. My roommate grabbed my arm and whined, but this is our first time going out to eat together as a dorm. Please come with us. I bit my lip, looking at their expectant faces. I really couldn't bring myself to refuse, especially since it was our first time going out together. Okay, let me just tell the other person. The girls nodded enthusiastically. Can we go tomorrow instead? My roommates are all going out for a meal together. A reply came back instantly. Johnny, babe, do you think I'm a very patient person? When I saw that message, I really didn't know how to respond. Johnny, I'm not trying to be difficult. It's just that you've ignored me all day, and now you don't want to have dinner with me. It makes me feel insecure. Looking at the message he sent, I don't know why, but I felt like there was a hint of grievance in his tone. Even though that feeling didn't suit him at all. After a moment of silence, as I was thinking about how to appease him, another message popped up in the chat. Johnny, bring your roommates along, okay? My treat. I finally broke into a smile, thinking this was a great solution for everyone. My boyfriend said he wants to treat you guys to dinner. Want to come? The three girls looked at each other. They said in unison, he's treating us? Yes. I let out a sigh of relief. When my roommates and I finished getting ready and went out, Johnny was already waiting in his car on the other side of the street from the school gate. The three girls sat in the back, and I sat in the passenger seat. The dorm group chat, which we had just created this morning, was now buzzing with activity. Chloe, Fiona. Your boyfriend is amazing. Jane, that's a 7-figure Maybach. I can die happy after riding in this. Nina, but for real, this guy is so lucky to be dating a sweet little thing like our Fiona. Chloe, I agree. I read the messages and couldn't help but smile to myself. Fiona, let's eat to our heart's content later. Chloe, Nina, roger that. The three girls in my dorm wanted to eat at a popular hot pot place that was all the rage recently. So Johnny followed the navigation directions I sent him. When we got out of the car, I noticed the hot pot restaurant was in a bustling, down-to-earth part of downtown. From what I knew about him, Johnny rarely ate in places like this. I was a little worried he might feel uncomfortable, so I instinctively looked up at him. When I saw no sign of impatience on his face, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Perhaps he noticed me looking at him. Johnny looked down and took my hand. I know I'm handsome, but you don't have to stare at me the whole time. I have thin skin, I'll blush. His face didn't turn red, but mine did. I quickly looked away and stared straight ahead. I was just worried you wouldn't be used to eating here. Johnny squeezed my hand, looking down at the top of my head. A roguish smile played on his lips. You really think I was raised in a palace? I'm not that picky. I slowly looked up at him. So, do you like hot pot? He didn't answer right away, just glanced at me with a slight smile. Do you like it? I nodded. I love it. Then I love it too. I paused for a moment, and after it sank in, I quietly turned my head away, a smile involuntarily forming on my lips. In the midst of the noisy surroundings, it felt like a seed in my heart had quietly sprouted, its roots gripping my heart even tighter. After dinner, the three girls very tactfully said they were going to check out the night market. Then, they grabbed each other's hands and ran off, leaving just me and Johnny standing in front of the hot pot restaurant. I sighed as I watched the three retreating figures. From behind me, Johnny's voice came, low and teasing. Your roommates are pretty great. I turned around, confused. He looked at me with a half smile. They sure know how to read a room. With that, he stepped forward and took my hand. Babe, the rest of the evening belongs to me now, right? Seeing all the people around us, I blushed and tried to pull my hand away. But his large hand slid between my fingers, interlocking them with his, making it impossible to break free. His dry thumb caressed the back of my hand. I gently poked him. Can you not call me that? Johnny looked at me with a lazy arch of his eyebrow. If not babe, then what? Princess? Or sweetheart? I pursed my lips, thinking babe was better than the alternatives. Fine, he could call me whatever he wanted. Is there anywhere you want to go? I asked, tugging on his hand. Johnny didn't say anything, just led me to the car. I thought he was taking me back to my dorm. But to my surprise, he started driving in the opposite direction. On the late summer evening by the river, a warm breeze blew, carrying a hint of heat. Isn't it beautiful? I looked up at the bridge flashing with neon lights in the distance, and the glittering lights on the opposite bank. It's beautiful. Johnny leaned lazily against the railing, watching me. I think it's beautiful too. From his playful tone, I knew he wasn't talking about the lights. I walked closer to the railing and leaned on it. My sister used to bring me here. Johnny turned and mirrored my pose, resting his arms on the railing. What a shame. I was hoping I'd be the first. His voice held a hint of disappointment and loneliness. As I turned my head to look at him, he reached out and pulled me closer. He wrapped his arm around my back, trapping me in his embrace. His large hand casually caressed the soft skin behind my ear. Suddenly, I heard him laugh. He looked down at me, pinching my cheeks and turning my face towards the riverbank. Babe, look, they're making out. I want to kiss, too. I didn't quite hear what he said. Because the people making out passionately on the riverbank looked a lot like Sophie. Johnny let out a soft TSK and gently turned my head back around. My lips were pursed from his pinch. I blinked, looking at him. That's my sister. Johnny finally let go of me. He looked over. Just in time to see my sister raise her hand and slap the guy across the face. I thought she was being harassed and was about to go help her. But Johnny suddenly grabbed me and pulled me back. That's Victor. It's fine. I looked at Johnny, confused. Who's Victor? He let out a soft laugh. Your sister's puppy. I was even more confused. Johnny continued to explain, her simp. I turned my head to look. I saw the two of them kissing again. Sophie didn't seem to be resisting much, so I relaxed. I turned back to look at Johnny. What did you say just now? I didn't hear you clearly. A smile played on Johnny's lips. He leaned in slightly, his dark eyes looking directly at me. I said, babe, I want to make out, too. His voice wasn't quiet. I quickly clapped my hand over his mouth. I glanced around. And not outside, we can't kiss, people will see. Johnny's eyes crinkled into a smile. He took my hand, lowered his head, and kissed the back of it. So no kissing outside. Does that mean we can kiss inside? I was at a loss for words. I quickly changed the subject. Did you always know that my sister and Victor were together? Johnny's smile widened. Kiss me, and I'll tell you. I bit my lip, then suddenly stood on my tiptoes and gave him a quick, dragonfly-like peck on the lips. Johnny sighed. Babe, are you trying to appease a child? My eyes darted away as I argued, you didn't say how to kiss. Johnny let out a laugh. Fine. I've always known. I've known ever since the Sheng and Bernard families started talking about an alliance. I also knew that Sophie would never agree to the engagement. I looked at him, confused. Then why did you agree to the engagement? Johnny leaned in, his breath tickling my ear. He whispered, that's a different price. My mouth opened. How much money do you want? He wrapped his arm around my waist, pulling me into his embrace. His voice was soft, the last word drawn out. Just a kiss will do, the kind where you open your mouth. I subconsciously glanced at his lips. My face instantly burned. Never mind, I don't really want to know that badly. Johnny hummed in agreement, his voice lazy. What a pity. I was just about to tell you. With that, he straightened up slightly. Maybe it was curiosity, or maybe it was a flicker of hope in my heart. I tugged on his sleeve again. Lower your head. Johnny raised an eyebrow. He obediently lowered his head. I stood on my tiptoes, raising my head, and pressed my lips firmly against his. I tried to part his lips. I awkwardly traced the shape of his mouth. He seemed to be deliberately teasing me, refusing to give in. Just as I was about to push him away, a large hand cupped the back of my neck, holding it gently but firmly. "Close your eyes." I quickly closed my eyes as he said. At the same time, Johnny held the back of my head, tilting it up slightly, and crushed his lips against mine. I placed my hands on his chest, tilting my head back to accept his kiss. His kiss wasn't gentle at all. After he had stolen all the air from my lungs, I gasped for breath and weakly pushed against him. But the hand on my waist felt like it was trying to merge me into his body. A moment later, my lips were numb from his kissing, and he finally, slowly let me go. I rested my head weakly against him, taking small gasps of air. He lowered his head and kissed my neck. He rubbed my back to help me catch my breath. I slowly looked up at him. My voice was soft as I asked, "Can you tell me now?" A smile played on the man's lips. "Babe, I was the one kissing you just now. Not the other way around." I never thought he would go back on his word. I puffed out my cheeks and punched him lightly on the chest. "You're such a liar." He let out a muffled laugh. On the way back to my dorm, I didn't speak to him because of what had happened. No wonder Sophie said men love to lie to women. Sure enough, someone with so much experience couldn't be wrong. When we reached the school gate, Johnny saw me pouting and ignoring him. He shook his head helplessly and pulled me into his arms. "Don't be mad anymore, okay?" I pouted. "Big liar." He threw his head back and laughed heartily. "The Bernard family only has 2 daughters. Your sister wasn't going to marry into the Xing family. So who else was going to, Hearing that, I froze. "So, do I need to spell it out for you?" I shook my head in a daze. On the way back to my room, I felt like I was floating. Because I realized. It seemed like Johnny had agreed to the alliance with the Bernard family from the very beginning with me in mind. Unconsciously, my heart felt like it was about to pound out of my chest. The moment I entered the dorm, Chloe saw me and rushed over. "Hee hee, Fiona. Your lips are all red." Flustered, I quickly covered my mouth, which was swollen from Johnny's kisses. The 3 girls in my dorm exchanged mischievous glances. Realizing they were laughing at me, I quickly put down my bag and escaped to the small balcony. "I'm going to get ready for bed. You guys should sleep early." After I finished, I saw that the 3 girls were already in bed, playing on their phones. I let out a sigh of relief. I quickly climbed into bed, afraid they would start teasing me again. I had classes all morning. As soon as class was over, Chloe dragged me to the dining hall. She was afraid it would get too crowded and she wouldn't be able to get her favorite sweet and sour ribs. After we got our food, a message from Johnny came through. It was a link to a post. I clicked on it. The title was written in bold letters. "How to tell if your girlfriend actually likes you. Does she have the desire to share her life with you? Does she care about you? Do you appear in her social media pictures?" After reading it, I felt a strange sense of guilt. A moment later, another message from Johnny came in. "Johnny, do you think they're right?" My hand holding the chopsticks paused. Even though I knew he was hinting at something, I quickly replied. "No. That's a lie." Then I casually took a picture of my food. "I'm having sweet and sour ribs for lunch today. Johnny, are you coming home on Friday?" "Yes." "Johnny, I'll come pick you up." Reading this, a smile unconsciously appeared on my face. Chloe was munching on her sweet and sour ribs, her mouth covered in sauce. What's Fiona smiling about? I quickly put down my phone. Nothing. Chloe didn't ask any more questions. I had no classes in the afternoon. On the way back, Chloe was already daydreaming about her wonderful afternoon plans. When we opened the door to our dorm room, we found the narrow floor covered in packages. Nina and Jane were sitting on small stools, tearing open packages. When they saw us, they gave us a wicked smile. They immediately started pulling at my and Chloe's clothes. A little while later, I looked at myself in the tiny skirt that barely covered my butt, and the black lace thigh-highs. I felt incredibly awkward. Nina looked at her creation, her face beaming. "Fiona, you're the perfect Misa." I tugged at the tiny skirt, confused. "What's a Misa?" Nina explained, "She's an anime character." It finally clicked. Nina and Jane loved watching anime. A while ago, they were even talking about going to an anime convention. "Fiona, let's go to the convention together during the fall break, okay? When I saw this dress, I just knew it would be perfect for you." I didn't expect it to look exactly like the Misa I imagined. I was surprised. "You bought this specifically for me?" Nina nodded enthusiastically, holding a silvery blonde wig. I looked at myself in the mirror. I smiled. "It actually looks really good." Nina circled me, ecstatic. Right? Right? Just do this one thing for me. Is Chloe going?" As soon as I said that, Jane pulled out Chloe, who was wearing a little purple dress. Chloe stood in front of the full-length mirror and screamed. Her face was full of pleasant surprise. "Ah! It's so beautiful. This little dress is gorgeous." And just like that, the 4 girls in the dorm came to an agreement. We were all going to the anime convention during the holiday. After class on Friday, the 7-day fall break officially began. Johnny came to pick me up early. He saw the little dress I was carrying and took it from me. "Babe, are you planning to wear this for me?" I shook my head. "No, I'm going to an anime convention with my roommates during the break." Johnny raised an eyebrow, holding the hanger up to me. He clicked his tongue. "It's a little short." Nina said they're all like this. I explained it matter-of-factly. Johnny didn't say much else. He took me to dinner and then drove me home. The moment I opened the door, the house was eerily quiet. I called out for my sister a few times into the empty house, but there was no response. Sophie must have gone out again. But when she still hadn't come back by evening, I sent her a message. That's when I found out she had ditched me to go on vacation. She was currently sunbathing on a beach in the Maldives. I pouted, annoyed. A little later, I got even worse news. The housekeeper's daughter-in-law was having a baby. Since Sophie didn't know I was coming home, she had given her time off. After washing up, I lay in bed alone. For some reason, the thought of being home alone for the entire 7-day break made me feel incredibly lonely. I couldn't help but send Johnny a message. "My sister's not home, and I'm so bored. Johnny, babe, if you say things like that, I'm going to want to come over." I bit my lip, not knowing how to reply. My heart fluttered, and I tapped on my phone. "Can I come over to your place?" Johnny didn't reply. Half an hour later, the roar of a sports car engine came from downstairs. At the same time, my phone rang. It was Johnny. "Babe. Open the door." I quickly put on my slippers. My heart filled with joy, I ran downstairs, pitter-patter. The moment I opened the door, I threw myself into his arms. My lunge made him stumble back half a step. After steadying himself, he wrapped his arms around my waist and patted my back. "It's only been an hour. You missed me that much?" I nodded, nestled in his arms. I packed my essential toiletries and a few changes of clothes. Then I went with Johnny to his place. Johnny had lived alone since college. I had been to his spacious apartment in the city center once before. This was my first time spending the night here. The moment I walked in, I felt like I had walked into a wolf's den. I sat on the sofa, feeling completely out of place. Johnny put my things in the bedroom and came out after tidying up. "Where's the tablet and charger?" "I'm going to take a shower." He pulled his t-shirt off over his head right in front of me. I stared at his bare torso and swallowed hard. I saw him look up at me. I quickly turned my head away in a fluster. I stammered, "I'm still here." "Can't you take it off in the bathroom?" Johnny walked towards me, holding his t-shirt. Babe, I'm trying to seduce you. Can't you tell? My eyes widened in disbelief. I turned my head. What are you talking about? Johnny smiled but didn't say anything. He reached out and stroked my soft hair. Okay, I'm just kidding. With that, he turned and went into the bathroom. A moment later, I heard the sound of water running in the bathroom. My mind kept replaying the image of his well-defined abs when he took off his shirt just now. And his broad shoulders and narrow waist, full of masculine wildness. My face started to burn without me realizing it. I took a deep breath and patted my cheeks. I silently berated myself for being so inexperienced. It was just taking off a shirt. What's the big deal? When he came out of the shower, I feigned sleepiness and yawned. Where am I sleeping? Johnny, toweling his wet hair, pointed towards a bedroom. I quickly got up and ran in. I locked the door behind me, feeling scared. I looked around the room. On the shelf in front of the computer desk, there were several mechanical keyboards and a few race car models casually placed. It was then that I realized this was probably Johnny's bedroom. Lying in his bed, I could clearly smell the clean scent of mint. It was similar to Johnny's own scent. Hugging the blanket, I felt an unexpected sense of security. Just as I was about to close my eyes and fall asleep, someone knocked on the door. I got up and opened the door a crack. I poked my head out and looked at Johnny. What's up? Johnny smiled. Babe, the bed in the guest room is broken. If I sleep on the sofa, my back will definitely be sore tomorrow. My mouth opened and closed. I bit my lip and opened the door all the way. I turned around and picked up a pillow from the bed. It's okay, I'll sleep on the sofa. I was about to walk out. But he suddenly pulled me back. The door clicked shut. And he locked it. I stared at Johnny with wide eyes. I was speechless for a long time. I stood there, hugging the pillow. He leaned down and kissed me on the lips. His words were sincere. You sleep on one side, I'll sleep on the other. I promise I won't cross the line. I looked up at him. Really? Cross my heart. With that, he reached out and took the pillow from my arms. Luckily, the bed was big enough for 2 people. After lying down, Johnny did lie quietly on his side. He didn't make a single move. But I couldn't fall asleep. I clutched the thin blanket, incredibly tense. I didn't dare to move. Suddenly, Johnny turned over, startling me so much that I scooted towards the edge of the bed. He was facing me, and he said softly, Babe, if you move any further, you're going to fall off. Don't talk. Johnny let out a frustrated laugh. He reached out, wrapped an arm around my waist, and pulled me over. I let out a surprised yelp. Before I could say anything, Johnny spoke. Babe, I'm just going to hold you. I won't do anything. I pushed against him, but he didn't budge, so I gave in. Johnny patted my lower back. Go to sleep. Johnny's embrace was very warm. As drowsiness slowly crept in and I was about to fall asleep, Johnny spoke softly again. Babe, I'm a little cold. Can you wrap your legs around me? I mumbled a sleepy okay. He kissed the top of my head. He lifted my leg and placed it over his. When I woke up in the morning, I found myself completely draped over Johnny. I wiggled my hips, trying to get out of his embrace. He frowned and slowly opened his eyes. His voice was raspy. Babe, don't move. Let go of me. He buried his head in my neck and kissed me. His hand slowly moved to my lower back. He pressed me firmly against him. For a moment, my eyes widened in shock. My ears instantly burned red. He nuzzled my neck. Babe, don't move. Let me calm down. This time, I didn't dare to move a muscle. For 3 consecutive nights, no one came to fix the bed in the guest room. Johnny's excuse was, all the workers are on vacation. I could see it clearly now. Even if the bed was fixed, this guy would find a way to share a bed with me. The third was the day of the anime convention. I got up early and put on the dress. Because Nina had also booked a makeup artist, I still had to go get my makeup done. Johnny sat in the living room, waiting for me to finish getting ready. Wearing the black dress, I proudly twirled in front of him. "Is it pretty?" He didn't say anything, his dark eyes just stared at me, growing heavy. He beckoned to me. I walked over to him. "What's wrong? Does it not look good?" His hands rested on my waist, and he pulled me between his legs, gently smoothing down my skirt. He looked up at me. "You look so beautiful, what if I don't want to let you go out now?" His hands slowly moved down, caressing my thigh. His long fingers gently slid over the black lace trim of my thigh high. He looked down and clicked his tongue. His finger slipped under the band that held the stocking against my skin, looking incredibly seductive. I backed away, a little scared. But his hand easily gripped the back of my knee and pulled me forward. I stumbled into his arms, one knee landing on the sofa between his legs. He leaned back against the sofa. His hand held my waist. I struggled, but couldn't break free. I blushed and reminded him, "Don't mess around, I'm going to be late." A playful smile appeared on his face. "Babe, give me a little treat, and I'll let you go." I gave him a quick kiss on the lips. "Is this okay?" "Not really." I bit my lip. "Close your eyes." He obediently closed his eyes. With trembling eyelashes, I lowered my head and kissed his lips, expertly opening my mouth and slowly beginning to explore. When the kiss was over, I said with a red face, "Is that enough?" Johnny slowly opened his eyes, the desire in them even stronger. His voice was slightly hoarse. "Still not quite enough." I glared at him, exasperated. "Then what else do you want?" A smile once again played on Johnny's lips. He reached out and cupped the back of my head. He forced me to lower my head. His warm breath fanned across my ear. "When you get back, let me take off your dress for you, okay?" Before I could say no, my lips were captured again. His kisses were never gentle. When he let me go, I was gasping for breath. He smiled and squeezed my waist with his other hand. "Deal?" "No." The next second, my lips were sealed again. "Deal?" His voice softened a little. My lips were numb from his kissing. He was always so domineering, and sometimes a little unreasonable. I hesitated for a moment. Then I asked cautiously, "Just taking off the dress?" He nodded. "Just taking off the dress. I won't do anything else." I bit my lip and gave a slight nod. A triumphant smile appeared on his face. He pinched my cheeks. "Let's go." After the convention ended that afternoon, I spent the entire car ride home trying to be invisible. Johnny, however, was in no rush, and took me to dinner. He drove slowly the whole way. I thought he had forgotten about our deal. But I was wrong. The moment we walked through the door, he swept me up and sat me on the entryway cabinet. His hand slowly slid to my back. The back of the dress was already a lace-up design. His touch sent a shiver down my spine. I uneasily pushed his hand away. But a moment later, his hand was back. He gently kneaded the soft flesh of my arm. He looked up with a mischievous smile. "Babe, where should I start?" His cool fingertips slowly slid under the hem of my dress. He hooked the garter that held up my black lace thigh high. He gave it a light flick. My heart pounded, and I quickly pressed his hand down. My eyes trembled. "Don't touch me like that." Johnny's voice was lazy. "Babe, how can I take it off if I don't touch you?" I bit my lip and accused him, "You're being a pervert." "Babe, you can't say that. Didn't you touch my abs last night?" I was speechless, my eyes turning red as I glared at him. It was him who insisted I touch them last night. When I refused, he grabbed my hand and made me. With a click, the clasp between my legs was undone. Johnny looked down and slowly took off my thigh highs. His fingers deliberately brushed against my skin. My ears were bright red. If you're going to take them off, just do it quickly. Babe, other people ask their boyfriends to go slower. Why are you telling me to go faster? His lewd joke left me speechless. I turned my head away, out of sight, out of mind. I let him do whatever he wanted. After a while, Johnny's hand returned to the open back of my dress. He lazily raised his hand and massaged the back of my neck. He leaned down and kissed me. As usual, it was overwhelmingly intense. When the kiss ended, Johnny finally let me go, satisfied. He leisurely pulled out a tissue and wiped away the lipstick he had smeared. I watched him nervously, waiting for his next move. But after a long time, he didn't move at all. I was a little surprised. Are you not going to take it off? Johnny looked down and let out a muffled laugh. Babe, if I take off any more, you won't be safe. I frowned, and it finally dawned on me. This guy had been teasing me from the very beginning. I puffed out my cheeks, cupped his face, and bit his lip. He chuckled and touched his broken lip. He teased me deliberately, so fierce. I turned my head away and ignored him. But he suddenly lifted me up like a child. He sat down on the sofa with a plop. I sat on his lap, my legs straddling him. He pinched my puffy cheeks. He whispered softly, Babe, if you want me to take your dress off, you'll have to marry me soon. The way he said it made it sound like I was the one who couldn't wait. He gave my waist a wicked squeeze. All right, go get cleaned up. You look like a little stray cat. I pushed myself up and got off him. After my sophomore year ended, both of our parents started pushing us to get married. It all happened very quickly. The same afternoon we discussed it, Johnny eagerly put an engagement ring on my finger. I had no chance to refuse. He dragged me off to get our marriage license. Coming out of City Hall, he made me take a ton of pictures with him in front of the building. That day, he must have posted at least 10 times on his social media. He was unbelievably smug. He hummed a tune the entire way home. The wedding was set for early spring. After a long day of preparations, I collapsed onto the sofa as soon as I got home. Johnny sat next to me, idly rubbing my lower back. Slowly, Johnny, who was behind me, started to get restless. He leaned in close to my ear, his voice incredibly gentle. Babe. My eyes were half closed as I mumbled, He leaned down and kissed my cheek. Get up. Go get ready for bed. I shook my head. No, I just want to rest for a bit. He let out a soft laugh. Need some help? Changing clothes, taking a bath. The ties on my back were slowly undone. A large hand rested on my bare back. It was as if he were caressing a precious treasure. A moment later, his large, well-defined hand gripped my waist and flipped me over. He scooped me up and carried me into the bathroom. Warm water slowly enveloped my body. Slowly, my drowsiness completely disappeared. Johnny knelt by the bathtub, a slight smile on his lips, but the desire in his eyes grew more and more obvious. I shrank back into the water, a little scared. Can you leave, please? I can wash myself. Johnny's handsome eyebrows arched slightly. TSK, babe, you're so quick to use people and then toss them aside. With that, he stood up. He slowly took off his tie, then his black shirt and trousers. My eyes widened. What are you doing? He didn't say anything, just stepped into the bathtub. Instantly, water sloshed out. Johnny pulled me into his arms. We're taking a bath together. I don't know how much time passed. In the bathroom, steam filled the air, and my body was burning hot. I lay my head on Johnny's shoulder, panting. I weakly pushed against him. My voice was soft and weak. I don't want to wash anymore. Johnny carried me out of the bathroom. He put me in my pajamas and slowly dried my hair. After all that time in the bathroom, all I wanted to do was sleep. Johnny cleaned up the mess in the bathroom. When he came out, he saw me hugging the covers, fast asleep. He gritted his teeth in frustration. He helplessly pulled back the covers and lifted me out. He kissed me several times. I whimpered and pushed him away. "What are you doing?" "I'm tired. I want to sleep." Johnny's hand slid restlessly into my pajamas. "Babe, the wedding night hasn't even started yet. But just now He just smiled, not saying anything. I knew he was about to start something again. I quickly got up and scrambled out of his arms. He wasn't annoyed, just slowly opened the nightstand drawer. A small square packet was casually placed on the nightstand. He knelt on the bed, leaned over, grabbed my ankle, and dragged me back. I lay limply on the pillow. I looked at the smiling Johnny next to me. "You jerk." He leaned over and kissed my bare lower back. He patted my back and placed another small square packet in my hand. "Babe, now it's your turn, okay?" The next morning, I woke up in the guest room. My body was clean and fresh. But my back was so sore I could barely move. I rubbed my back and slowly went to the bathroom. I saw Johnny, shirtless, bent over the sink, washing my underwear. Watching his satisfied expression, I narrowed my eyes and said softly, "I think you've been planning to do this for a long time." Johnny looked up, his eyebrows raised slightly. A wicked smile played on his lips. "Babe, you're so smart." 12 Epilogue. The Bernard family has 2 daughters. The older one is as flamboyant as a peacock. The younger one is as soft as a little rabbit, incredibly cute. She would sweetly call everyone big brother or big sister. One time, Sophie brought the little girl out skiing. Sophie has a short temper. The little girl didn't know how to ski, and after trying to teach her a couple of times, Sophie lost her patience. She told her to sit on the side and wait for her. The group was having too much fun and soon forgot all about her. The little girl sat on the bench, not crying or making a fuss. Her nose was red from the cold, and she sniffled every now and then. She was just waiting for her sister to finish playing and remember her. Seeing how pitiful she looked, I couldn't help but extend my hand to her. "Want to ski? I can teach you." The little girl looked at me, dazed and timid, and shook her head. I couldn't help but laugh. For once, I was trying to be a good guy, and I get rejected. "I'm not going to eat you." The little girl pursed her lips and finally reached out her hand. Actually, she was very smart. It didn't take her long to be able to stand steadily. She clapped her hands and looked at me with admiration. "Big brother, I can ski now." I instinctively patted her on the head. I smiled and praised her, "You're amazing." The little girl froze, and the next second, a blush crept up her face. She gets flustered so easily. I wondered who would be the lucky guy to have her one day. Later, when my grandfather mentioned the marriage alliance with the Bernard family, my mind instinctively went to that little rabbit. Sophie and Victor had been entangled for years. Although the Bernard family assumed that Sophie was the one marrying into the Xing family, I knew that girl's temper was like a firecracker. She would definitely not marry me. So I gladly accepted the alliance. And just as I expected, Sophie ran away. At the engagement party, I was wickedly waiting for the Bernard family to push the little girl forward for the marriage. But to my surprise, she came to me herself. She tugged on my sleeve and asked timidly, "My last name is Bernard, too. Could I be your fiancé?" I looked into her watery eyes. I knew my heart was about to beat out of my chest. Afterward, Sophie called me a bastard and asked if I had been coveting her sister all along. I just smiled and nodded. And replied smugly, "You finally figured it out."